constellation of research projects around the idea of democracy, and I would like to congratulate them for the work which has already been achieved. This today is a launch conference, but as usual, when comes the time of the official launching, a lot has already been done.
But let me simply say a few statements. Dry, short statement concerning the assumption. It might be contested, but certainly were shared by us while moving to it. The first is the following. Within the European Union nowadays, there is a dramatic imbalance between the capacity to solve problems, which remain pretty high, and the capacity to legitimize the solution arrived at. And this imbalance is growing over time. You might agree or disagree on this at odds relationship between problem-solving capacity and legitimation capacity. Now that was one of our starting points. The second assumption was the following. European and national elites have so far stubbornly underestimated this problem. At the same time, third point, recent setbacks and a certain, or should we call it, disencanto, demoralization, disillusionment about the integration process, has however contributed to make more evident a number of things. First, I think there is a growing consensus in both national and European media that the enterprise of economic modernization of Europe, which was the core of the European integration process, can no longer be pursued without more explicit popular support. There is, second, a growing sense of urgency about this problem. It's no longer one of the problems. It's becoming deeper. And the perception that action needs to be taken.
The goals are manifold of EUDO. First, we try to translate scientific output into policy relevant and publicly understandable output, vulgarization, if you want, which is actually a much more difficult task than one could imagine from the outset. But there is valuable research which is produced, and there is research whose results are extremely valuable to not only to the academic community, but also to policymakers. But they have to be translated, explained, interpreted, before digested, in a sense, before presented to the wider public. And we're trying to do this. We wanted also to produce a permanent structure. If you look at democracy in a one-shot, that's not going to help you resolve the problem of tomorrow's democracy. We need a permanent and periodic assessment of democratic practices within the EU in large. And therefore we need a structure which is permanent and periodic, offering periodic assessments. Through this, we try not to just analyze the problems, but we also try to come up with some practical suggestions of and for improving democratic performance in the EU. So the aim of the exercise is not just to look at the patient, to diagnose its illness, but it's also to find somehow cures that we could experiment with, at least. And for doing this, we need a forum. We need to be able to exchange ideas. We need to be able to exchange identifying and discuss best practices, not just among academics, but also by including practitioners, among which we have many in this room right now. So this is in short the aim, the main goal. We want to become a major resource for policymakers, for academics, and why not even for citizens in the European Union on European democracy.